Have you ever dreamt of just sleeping soundly? You know, the kind of sleep where you wake up feeling genuinely renewed? Well, you are in exactly the right place. In this explainer, we're going to uncover some powerful and honestly pretty surprising foods that can totally transform your sleep.
So, does this sound familiar to you? You climb into bed, you're ready for some rest, but your brain just refuses to switch off. You toss and turn, or maybe what's even worse, you actually fall asleep only to find yourself wide awake at 2 or 3 in the morning, staring at the ceiling. I promise you, you are not alone in this.
You know, a lot of people don't realize this, but sleep issues often get a little more common after the age of 50. It turns out your body's internal clock, that natural circadian rhythm that tells you when to be tired, it starts to shift. But, and this is the really good news, nature has already given us all the tools we need to help our bodies relearn how to rest deeply.
Okay, let's dive right in. Before we get to the sleep-saving heroes, we absolutely have to talk about a really common evening habit that might be quietly sabotaging all your best efforts to get a good night's sleep.
And the hidden saboteur is decaf coffee. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Wait, the whole point of decaf is that it's safe for the evening, right? Well, the reality is just a little more complicated than that.
So, just how much caffeine are we actually talking about here? It turns out decaf coffee can still hang on to about 10% of the original caffeine. And for a lot of us, especially if you're a little sensitive, that is more than enough to mess with the whole process of falling asleep.
And it's not just the leftover caffeine. Some of the processes used to make decaf use chemical solvents, and those can actually interfere with your brain's sleep-wake signals. On top of that, there's a powerful psychological trigger. I mean, your brain has spent years connecting the smell and taste of coffee with being awake and alert. That habit alone can send the wrong message right when you're trying to wind down.
All right, enough about the villain of our story. Let's meet the team of nighttime heroes. These are some incredible, natural foods that actually work with your body to bring on that deep, restorative rest we're all looking for.
First up, the humble banana. Seriously, it's a powerhouse of potassium and magnesium, which are fantastic for helping your muscles relax and just let go of the day's tension. But the real magic is in its vitamin B6. It helps turn tryptophan into serotonin, that's the feel-good chemical, which then becomes melatonin, the hormone that basically tells your brain, hey, it's time for sleep.
And this stuff has a real-world impact. Let me tell you about Rosa. She's 65, and she was having a really tough time with restless legs and waking up constantly. She started eating one ripe banana about an hour before bed, and the result? Within just a few days, the twitching stopped and her sleep got so much deeper and more consistent.
Okay, on to our next hero, almond. You can think of these as the silent protectors of your sleep. Not only are they packed with that calming magnesium, but they also help manage cortisol, which is your body's main stress hormone. Plus, and this is a big one, their healthy fats keep your blood sugar stable overnight, preventing those jarring wide-awake moments at 3 in the morning.
Our third hero is the cherry. It turns out cherries are one of the best natural sources of melatonin you can find. You know, everyday stress, getting older, even just staring at our screens, it can all mess with your body's melatonin production. A handful of fresh or frozen cherries before bed can help reset that clock and gently guide you towards sleep. Next up, the kiwi. And this isn't just a tasty fruit, it's actually one of the most scientifically backed sleep aids out there. Kiwis are loaded with serotonin, which, remember, is a direct building block for melatonin. They're also full of antioxidants that fight off the cellular stress that can leave you feeling foggy in the morning. Oh, and here's a pro tip for you. The skin is totally edible and full of extra fiber, which is great for your gut health, and we're now learning that's a huge factor in sleep quality. And finally, we have walnuts, which have this amazing dual power. They contain omega-3s, which are the raw materials your body needs to make its own melatonin, but they also contain pre-made melatonin, a direct source that's ready to go. It's like a brilliant 2-for-1 deal for getting better sleep.
Let's look at Martin. He's 67, and he was in a habit of waking up 2, sometimes 3 times a night. He started adding just a small handful of walnuts to his evening routine, and he noticed a huge change. He started sleeping deeper, and on the nights he did wake up, he found he could fall back asleep way faster.
Seeing results like Martin's is just so inspiring, right? So, we've met all the heroes. The big question is, how do we assemble them into a powerful bedtime routine? Let's build a simple, totally doable plan.
Okay, here's a really simple timeline you can try. About an hour before you want to go to sleep, have a kiwi and a few soaked walnuts.
Then, about 45 minutes before bed, you can sip on some properly brewed chamomile tea. By the time your head actually hits the pillow, your body is going to be perfectly primed for rest.
And hey, speaking of chamomile, how you brew it really matters. The key is to protect a compound called apigenin. That's the secret ingredient that gives the tea its calming effect. To do that, you want to use whole flowers, not tea bags. Use water that's just off the boil, not boiling hot, and steep it covered for at least 10 minutes. This simple method unlocks its true sedative power.
By making these small, simple changes, you really can take back control of your nights. You can reclaim that deep, restorative sleep that you absolutely deserve.
I think the biggest takeaway here is this. These foods aren't sleeping pills. They are tools. They work with your body's natural chemistry to help it remember how to sleep deeply on its own. You're just giving your body the right resources it needs to do its job.
So, as we wrap things up, I'll just leave you with this one thought. Instead of looking in the medicine cabinet for a better night's sleep, what if the answer has been right there in your kitchen all along?